Hi everyone, this is Miss Rapp, and this is Algebra 2, Unit 1, Lesson 4. Please do this after you do Lesson 3 because they really go well together. So grab a pencil, grab your packet. Let's get started. So it says write the equation of the graph below. Make sure to verify the a value. So I always start by finding my center, which is right here. This is a cube root. You can use your unit lesson 1 to go over this. And then I like to draw my line down here. I always like to draw my center, helps me find my h and k. So my h is always going to be this number, and my k is always going to be this number. So my h is 3, my k is 1. My a value, I go from the center, I go to the right, and I see how far up I go, which is 2, so a is 2. So my equation is y equals 2. The cube root, make sure you have that little 3 there, x minus 3 plus 1. Use your equations worksheet. That'll be super helpful. Okay. If this was confusing to you, please go back to lesson 3 or come to office hours, email me, whatever. Describe the difference in the equation below compared to its mother function. So this is absolute value. I see, I'm going to grab a highlighter. I have to explain these 3 numbers because in the parent function or the mother function, it looks like this, right? This is really plain. This has a lot going on. So I would say stretch times 3. I would say write 2 because of that 2. Some of you might be like, well, why isn't it negative 2? It's because when you take it out, you do the opposite. And then I would say up 5. How can we use this information to sketch a quick graph? I would plot the starting point using HK. And then count the a value or make a table. I think making a table is sometimes the best idea. If you don't know how to graph something, just make a table. It's so easy. It works with every function. I think it's super underrated. Okay, so there's a few ways to graph these. You can use the mother function and then draw the transformations. You could make a table, as I said. So I like to draw these dashed vertical lines through the axis. I'll show you. And that's my new center. So I'm going to go over problems 1, 5, 6, and 8. And the others you can either do on your own, use the key, ask a friend for help, whatever works. So right here, this is going to be a square root. And my h is 3. My k is -4, and my a value is 1 because there's just like nothing there. So I'll draw in h is 3. Oh, sorry, h is -3. Whoops. I did go the opposite. And then -4 is right here. So I have a dot right here at the HK. And my a value is 1, so I go to the right one, up 1. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. 2 to 5 points, totally fine. You can also make a table. I'll show you how to make a table with the exponentials. Quadratic, you did in Algebra 1. Plot your vertex, go over 1 up your a value. Absolute value, you did in Algebra 1. Let's look at this exponential. So here's how I'm going to do this. I need a calculator. Okay, I got my calculator on my phone. So I'm gonna make a table. I know it's exponential. I always like to start by drawing my asymptote first. So that's at -9. So this is where my equation is gonna get flat. And here's what the table is gonna look like. I'll just do it on a separate sheet of paper next to it so I have room. So on the table, you just want 3 to 4 points. So I'll do like, oh, and I forgot to draw in my, so I drew in my K. Here's my H. My H is at +4. So I always like to do like 2 points to the left of my K. Sorry, 2 points to the left of my H and 2 points to the right. So I would do like 3 and like 2, 3, and then 5, 6. It doesn't really matter what you put on. That's just like how I like to build it. So then when I plug this in, this is going to be 3 to the power of 2 minus 4 minus 9. I'll make another row. So I just plug the x into the equation. So 3 to the power of, well, 2 minus 4 is -2 minus 9. I got -0.888. -8.88. Okay, let's do the next one. This would be 3 to the power of 3 minus 4 minus 9. So that would be 3 to the power of -1 minus 9, -8.6. So you can make a table for any equation, which is nice. So like if you're like, I don't remember how to do this, I don't remember the trick, I don't want to remember the trick, you can literally just draw a table for everything. So this one is going to be 3 to the power of 5 minus 4 minus 9. So that's 3 to the power of 1 minus 9. So that's -6. This one's going to be 3 to the power of 6 minus 4 minus 9. So that's going to be 3 squared minus 9. Well, 3 squared is 9 minus 9. That makes sense. It's 0. Okay, so let's plot these. This is like, I'm showing work right here. Like, this is a great way to show work. So I'll try my best to graph these. So at 2, it's at -0.88. So that's like right here. Then it gets a little higher. And then at 5, it's exactly at -6. And at 6, it's at 0. So it looks like this. I have a lot of students who are like, I just want to make a table for everything. It's so much more organized and easier. Go for it. Totally fine. Okay, pause here if you want to look over this. Okay, let's move on to number 6. And then we'll do number 8. So number 6 is a rational. And I always say that rationals are the most intimidating to look at, but actually, in my opinion, the easiest to figure out. So I would say that my A equals 2, my H equals -2, so I do the opposite, and my K equals 4. So I'm going to draw in my HK with these dashed lines. And remember, you can make a table for this if you want. I'm not going to because I think it's really easy to just graph them. So this is my center. So I've already used my H and K. Like those have been dealt with. They're not going to come back into play. Last thing, I need to use my A value. A is positive. So you always go right 1. And because it's a positive 2, I'm going to go right 1 up 2. And I draw my branch. And then I go left 1 down 2. And I draw my branch. See, it's literally like 1, 2, 3 steps. Most intimidating one to look at, easiest one to actually deal with, in my opinion. Okay, great work, everyone. Let's look at number 8. So this is a cubic. So for this, I would say, well, A is 1/3, H is 4, K is 1. You have to remember that's opposite. So I'm going to draw in my HK. When I say draw in HK, it's just these dashed lines. So I have, this is my center. So I go to the right one, up my A value. So up a third. So like a third's like there. Left one, down my A value. So it's going to snake like this. That's it. And if you wanted to, you could totally make a table and just pick like 4 points and plug it in and throw it into your calculator. That is completely valid. I think making a table is a really great tool. Let me just double check if there's any others I want to do. Linear, you should know how to do on your own. Quadratic, you should know how to do on your own. Absolute value, you should know how to do your own. I want to maybe, okay, let's do number 4. If you really understand how A, H, and K works, you're going to be fine. Lesson 2 will help. All these lessons really build on each other. Okay, this is a cube root. A is -2. H is +3. K is 4. So step 1, draw my dashed lines. H is 3. K is 4. So I put a dot on that center point. You go to the right one, up or down, or your A value. So I'm going to go to the right one, but my A value is negative, so I go down 2, put a dot. I go to the left one and then up 2. And it's going to kind of swivel like this. Don't worry if your general shape is messed up. I'm really just looking for these points. So if you want to do it in a table, that's also fine. If you want to do it in a table, but you're wondering how to cube root something, if your calculator doesn't have that, here's how you can write this in a calculator so it makes sense. You can write -2 parentheses x minus 3 to the power of 1/3 plus 4. Raising something to the power of 1/3 is the same thing as taking a cube root. So you can even like go like 4 minus 3 to the power of 1/3 plus 4. That's what you type in your calculator. Okay, I want you to do all the independent practice problems. Good luck.